It was also a duplex, just to make it a little bit more interesting.
Was the duplex both sides empty?
No, the rear unit was already rented. It was a one and one.
Hit up. Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's do a couple things just to set the tone here. So I just was saying to them, I think you got another deal if I understood your DM right. But let's go back to, I think there's one or two we're gonna do here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's. I got it from.
All right, hold on. Your internet's really shitty. Can you maybe take the video off? It's really spotty.
All right.
Come on, Herman.
I know. Okay, so yes, I got this as a for sale by owner through My Plus Leads, and talking
long
to the seller
has it
for a
been on?
while. He was waiting. Sorry.
That's all right. I'll hit you with the questions and then you can fill in the blanks. How long was he on? He or she?
I think at least 4 months when I contacted him.
Okay, that's getting tired. Okay. Whoops, deal type. I switched these. We're doing an AO here, is it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before we dive into that, there's always new people on it. I don't care how many come on. There's new people. So, quickly your background, and prior to SREC, and how long you been with us.
Okay. So yeah, my name is Hidde. I go by Herman, and I am from the Netherlands. And prior to joining the community, I was a private chef on yachts, working for the 1%. And I did that from being 19 to about 25, 26, and just kind of got tired of the physical. And so I tried to find something else, and so I did some courses in real estate, some multifamily, some just kind of like researching, seeing what would be a good way to go. And then I found Chris on the podcast. Honestly, I don't even remember which one it was. I think a wholesale hotline, but I might be way off there. And so then I did one of those the intake conversations with you guys, the interview, and well, I was sold. I was 100% connected with your values and the way that you guys worked, and joined the starter program. And pretty soon after that, the high six, I guess. So we joined the starter program, I believe November 1st or 3rd or something, and then we jumped to high six. What was it, Chris? About a day before I got these deals, so that must have been July 9th.
At the boot camp, I think, or thereabouts.
Well, we talked about it then. We actually signed up on July 9th, and I know that because it was the day before I got these 2 contracts.
That's good. All right, guys, just a little context. Some people here have been to the boot camp. The boot camp has been ridiculously powerful. The little thing we did this morning with 3 high 6 coming in here and doing calls was just 2.5 hours, but the boot camp's 2.25 days. If you're an associate or an apprentice, it's free. The only challenge is it's right here in the conference room and it's tiny. So you got to get that booked. We have one next week with a few seats, and then we have one in not September because the event's in September. We have one in October. So side note, if you haven't done that, get your butt booked. All right, little background on the seller, Hidde. Why are they doing this? What happened when you called? Give a little context.
Yeah, real quick, Chris, how's my video? I fixed my Wi-Fi, I think.
You're fine now. We'll yell at you if it's not.
Okay, good. The seller, this guy, he knew he had a pretty nice property in a good area, and he basically just put it on the market. It might have been more than 4 months just to see what he could get. And so the value of the property, I think, was just over 600, and he was trying to get 750 for it. So very early on, I was like, okay, this guy's dreaming. We need to, let me just keep tabs on the guy, and we'll see what happens. And the conversation led to an appointment very quickly. And so
how quickly? So he had been on for 4 months. You called how many times to get the appointment, and what was that time span?
Not too long, honestly. Hold on, I have it written down here. First contact was on the 18th of March, and the 2nd of April I had my appointment. So it must have been, 2.5 weeks. I got it done pretty quick.
Okay.
because I just figured, once there's a face, once you have a little bit more rapport, it is just so much easier of a conversation. And so that was
I agree.
my point there. So did the appointment. I had Rick, my coach, on the phone. I don't know if Rick is on here, but he was very helpful. And we basically just walked the gentleman through it, and we started working on some numbers. So first we kind of looked at a subject two option, owner financing hybrid. And
How much? Okay, hold on. How much does he own this place? This is good.
how much does he own on the place? I believe about 350.
Round numbers is okay. Yep.
Yeah.
About 350.
Yeah.
So 400 grand, call it, right? Equity.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, and so we looked at some options, but he was hoping to get a little bit more money up front, and so the amount of money that we were able to do up front in the sub two just wasn't really enough for him, and so we figured, you know what, let's just try to do an assign out. And he was trying to move to Atlanta or to Dallas, or he really didn't know what he was doing. He was just wanting to get out of
What was he asking for a down, like that made you pivot?
Well, he just wanted to get as much down, and I think he said 50 or 80 grand, and I was thinking, if I need to be able to pay him 50 or 80 grand, that means I need to get at least 100 up front, and that was that's steep. It's too much. So that kind of made me think, okay, this isn't gonna work. Let me see what I can make work. And so then we kind of worked on some AO numbers, and yeah, pretty quickly that worked out. And he wasn't too stingy with the numbers either, and so we got to some AO numbers pretty quick. And
Okay, so where do we end up? I'll kind of sketch it out over here. What did you sketch out for him?
We ended up saying, hold on, I have it open here.
You guys, I want you to be able to see his numbers, but then ask questions, because we did 4 AOs today in the conference room this morning, and it's still, I don't care how many times you see it, it can be confusing when you're brand new. It's just that I had done so many of them, so it's like rote for me now. So I want you to ask questions if there's blanks here. This is what we're going to tear this apart. This is the simplest structure, but sometimes when you're new, it's harder. So how did you outline it?
Yeah, so eventually we went with the purchase price of 750,000. I figured, we can always try it and we can negotiate later.
Meaning you're going out at that, or you minimize? You're saying his minimum is going to be guaranteed at 750.
His minimum is 750, and then we were going to bring it to market at 799.9 originally, but we actually did bring it to market at 789.9 per Nick's advice.
When you outline this for him, that's what we did in the conference room today, and you said, hey, this is just an example, but we're going to go at 789.9. What, for the example, did you give him for down payment when you did this math, just so he could see it?
For the seller? I probably took 10% as a I think I took 10% as an average on this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want everybody, and did you do 50-50?
Correct, yes.
Okay. I just want everybody to understand. So they're only examples, because you don't know until you go to the market. Our option agreement, bold and highlighted, says it's just an example. But if you use in this case, let's just, for the example, hit a say, I'll just round up to 80. I just want to show everyone. So if he's going to market at 80, this is a discussion that hypothetically you would have with a seller. Mr. Seller, I'm gonna try to guarantee you 750 or better. I'm gonna go to the market at 790. I'm gonna get 80 grand down, just as an example. But we're gonna split that 40 each. So at signing, at financing, the buyer is eventually gonna owe you 709.9. But you got 40 already. So you're at your 750. Now this deal happened to come out to 750 the way I just did that on accident, but usually it's going to come out where they get a little high. I was just giving you an example so you know how this is discussed. On the Associate Mastermind call at 5, Rusty and I and Rick and Nick are going to rip apart how you properly explain an AO in a lease purchase, because there's too many different scripts floating around. We're going to go over that on the Associate call. All right, Hitter, so go ahead.
Yeah, what's next, Chris? The deposit?
Well, did you also ask for first month's rent?
Yes, 3,200.
Okay, so the monthly payment is going to be 32. This is not an agreement yet, correct?
This was under agreement, yes.
No, I'm sorry, you have an agreement to sell it, but you didn't sell this yet.
No.
Okay. Okay. When did you guys go on, you and Nick?
The 10th of July.
So it's only been a month. Okay.
Yeah.
Activity yet?
Well, the activity was that yesterday he decided that he is just going to rent it out. So as of yesterday, I took this off the market.
Okay. We probably should have chose a different one, but that's okay. We'll use this for a lesson.
We have another one. That one's going well.
Okay, good. No, this is okay. So here, but actually, I'm glad you brought this up because I hit it with a message. Was it yesterday? Yeah. And I said, hey, that's the life of the AO. Like the AO seller can just go, hey, you know what? I changed my mind. What are you gonna do? Sue him? It's an option agreement, right? So we move on. It's the nature of the beast.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Huh?
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah, you're probably gonna. I told the group today in the conference room, because AOs are so easy for a seller to accept, they're so lucrative for them. They're also easy to back out of, but because they're so easy, I mean, Nick and I back in the day would take 10 of these in a month, 7 to 10, and sell, 60 or 70% of them. And they're just, you're gonna lose some. You can't get tied to it. Okay, Hitta, anything else about this? Why? When you talked to him, did he tell you I might rent it? I might pull the rug out, or did he not say anything?
Yeah, no, he was kind of just getting, he all of a sudden took a job out of state and he just wanted to fill the property ASAP. Yeah. So he had it marketed as a short-term rental. He had it for sale for a couple different prices and we were marketing it. So going into it, I knew it was going to be a tricky one, but because we had good rapport and he was super interested, I figured, let's try it. What's the worst that can happen, right? It doesn't sell.
I would have. You could have popped it before you rented it. Yeah, it's fine.
I could have. Yeah, it could have happened. It's just it was a tough area. It was a little bit on the high side, but you know what? We tried and we did good. It just didn't work out.
Well, you had some learning curves there too. So Hitta would have got hypothetically 32 and 40. That would have been his only payday, and then he would have moved on.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's got to be questions here. There's 60 people. So does anyone have any questions for Hitta about how he scripted it, how he said? Because you got it signed. And a lot of you guys are just in that mode where you haven't got there yet. So I would probably pick Hitta's brain. We're going to talk about more, but he's on fire right now. Any questions? Or Rusty, can you think of something else that I didn't ask or that these guys should be asking?
It was also a duplex, just to make it a little bit more interesting.
Was the duplex both sides empty?
No, the rear unit was already rented. It was a 1-on-1, and we had agreed that if the down payment was substantial enough that the tenant buyer was going to be the beneficiary of that cash flow, but I think that was only up to 20% or over 18%. That was more of a verbal agreement. I figured, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Okay. No questions for Hitta, guys?
Yeah, I got one. So you said that this property that he wanted $750, but the property was only worth like $600, I think you said?
Yes, correct. There was no support for his asking price. Not really. He was definitely about $100,000 over.
So with that, how was it that you were able to come up and say I can sell it for $789? If you thought
because the rent to own market brings a higher price, and so that's kind of the we can immediately ask a little bit more for it. And then this isn't a really upcoming area, so for the right buyer, they would definitely see the potential in there that at the time of financing in a year or two, that was going to be a real sweet deal for them. But again, this was a little bit more tricky one. I knew that going into it, but it was worth trying for me.
Yeah, Brian, it's funny with an AO. I've always done and taught like, okay, I can't find this, or okay, I think your monthly's high. But I'm going to give it a shot. That's the other reason why we're selling 60 to 70%, not 85 to 100. It's a gamble. When you're brand new, you tend to take more of those.
Hey, Hitta, how far out were you looking to get this sold?
Like what do you mean, time wise?
Yeah, how many years for the option to your tenant buyer?
Okay, so this is an assign out, and we typically do 24 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so today, Jeff, we had, gosh, it was funny because we lucked out. You come to the boot camps, you'll find out. Sometimes we can dial and get nothing, right? So they come in here, and Carla's on here, I think, and they came in and boom, boom, boom. We hit these calls. They're all live, but they all were like, yeah, I'm all set. And then so I said, well, what are you going to do if it doesn't sell? I'm going to rent it. I said, okay, well, hear me out. And every time I explain the AO 3 times in a row, they're like, oh, okay, you got my attention. So
Well, Chris, on that note, there's a question on there. What is an AO? So maybe you can
Yeah,
dive a
sorry.
little bit into
We're gonna
AOs.
sit down. I just think I'm in like. AO means this, guys. We buy sandwich lease purchase, owner financing, or sub two primarily. But just like I alluded to this morning, when they're like, "Ah, forget it, I'm all set. I'm gonna rent it if I don't sell it." That's a last resort. We come in and go, "We're gonna do this." It's called an assign out. That's what an AO is. It's just something I created back in like 2013. And it means that we're gonna go out and find the same tenant buyer we always find for all our deals. Nick's gonna do the same exact thing he always does with you. The coaches are gonna, when we get that buyer though, we assign it. We do the whole closing and everything like we do the signing with the attorneys, and then we assign that buyer package and that buyer to the seller. We step away, the seller now is in charge of that, not us. I can show you a couple different ways of what that looks, how that looks on paper compared to a sandwich or an owner financing. It is over the top lucrative for a seller because they're getting a premium almost every time, the way we do them. They're getting upfront cash. They're getting all the monthly cash flow. And if they're not their primary, they're depreciating it. So like there's so many advantages for them, but it's not for the person that doesn't want to. It's not that they have to be a landlord, right, with the right tenant buyer, but if they don't want to like deal with it, they want us to deal with it, then it's not for them. Example, today I called one of Avi's. That was one of the ones I called. And I said to Avi, do you think she's going to want an AO? Because he's going Sunday. I set the appointment for him. And we both said, I don't know. I mean, she's elderly. Does she really want to deal with that? But we're going to present it because we weren't clear what she wanted. We're going to present owner financing, sub 2, and AO to this woman. I just got to see if it's palatable for the seller to even deal with that. Did that help? Whoever asked that? Or did I confuse it more? I can do that too. If it didn't, just ask me, guys.